All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you right there and just like me right here. Neal Schon and his page, the reason I'm here is I wanted to talk a little more about Journey Through Time. I had an inquiry from one of my patrons about this, so I figured I'd talk about it. So on Neal's site, Journey Through Time will hit the road in February of 2019 for the first time, celebrating the band's legendary catalog and rich history. Returning to their roots, the band will showcase songs from the very beginning, plus pay tribute to your favorite classic hits. Joining Schon and Raleigh will be former Journey member Dean Castronovo on vocals and drums, Todd Jensen and Chris Collins on guitar and keys. Journey's worldwide sales have reached over 100 million records, making them one of the world's best-selling bands of all time. And then they go into the chart-topping hits, and they finish off with a very broad selection of great material spanning from 1973 to now. Schon has promised to dig deep into it all. All right, so the person who reached out to me yesterday, I'm not going to name them or anything. They're, again, all my patrons, I appreciate the questions and inquiries. But there is a very, shall we say, fervent group of Steve Perry folks that probably come over and subscribe to me because I talk about Steve a lot, and I'm not always 100% complimentary to Steve Perry. I have had criticisms of Steve, and I try to be fair. That's what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. But here's what I think happened with Journey Through Time. And again, do I have the actual physical document in my hand? Have I seen a picture of the document? No, I have not. But this is what I think may have happened. And again, if you notice my language, this could have happened, this might have happened. This is one theory behind what could have happened with Journey Through Time. Journey Through Time, as you can see here, was a go. It was like, yeah, full speed ahead, Journey Through Time. They had the benefit concert in San Francisco, and I don't think anybody was going to mess with that. It was a benefit for those people who were really hurt when the wildfires came through California, in the Bay Area, and all over, and this was billed as a benefit concert. By the way, that's how you kind of inoculate yourselves a little bit from what could be around the corner if you continue doing this thing called Journey Through Time. Now, obviously, you've got this word in the title of your band, Journey Through Time. And the way this paragraph kind of goes on, it's almost like the band's rich history. Well, Journey Through Time hasn't had a rich history. They just started. All right, and so that's kind of an interesting way to word that. Again, this is branding because people see the word journey and they go, oh, journey through time. But it's still got the word journey in it. When I first heard the name of this band, I said, probably could have thought of a better name for the band, but there's a reason to put Journey in the title of this, and there would be a reason for either Steve or Herbie to say, whoa, wait a minute, it's too close, no, you can't do this. So, again, my guess, and again, listen to my language here, my guess is, my thoughts are, all right, these are my thoughts, my guesses. I don't have confirmation from anybody, although I have talked to a couple of people who think this theory is very plausible. Now, this is not throwing Steve Perry under the bus. This is kind of like what Steve has been up to lately, whether it's the Phil Brown situation or, Journey as far as what they've been up to these days. And ensuring that certain people within the group were taken care of in a way that Steve Perry's been taken care of. One thing is certain, whether you like Perry or not, he is a very shrewd businessman. Is that a positive thing? Yes, but I think, and again, this is just me and my opinion here, I think when you cross a line, when you go over a line where people say, well, how much is enough? How much is too much? I mean, just let these guys go out and work. Let them earn some revenue, because they're not going to earn revenue off of album sales, new albums, right? Very little. Unless they produce a super blockbuster. It would have to be even better than Revelation. And it could be. I don't know. There could be something out there these guys have recorded. Is it going to get radio airplay? No, but it's Journey, and that means worldwide acclaim. When they release an album, people are going to pay attention. It's been, 9 years since their last album? So there could be a little bit of revenue there, but again, you've got Steve, basically skimming 12.5% after all the other expenses are paid, and that's a pretty good chunk of it when you've got, 4 or 5 guys in a band. So, again, this went out, and this was a way to kind of get around that a little bit, call it Journey Through Time, and have all of these great players. The 2 key guys that were in this that really excited me about Journey Through Time were Greg Raleigh and Dean Castronova, because they could really sell that Infinity brand of Journey, Infinity, Evolution, Departure. They could sell that, and then they could still do all of the other songs and then go back into the past and do the jam band stuff from the first 3 albums. So that's why this was a formidable group. This was a group people were very excited about, because they could get Journey from any time period, hence Journey Through Time. But the word Journey being in that title, I think was a real, I'd say a sort of a line in the sand for those who probably didn't want them taking one band's image and kind of morphing it into another band. At the time, I was saying, hey, look, this is kind of like the new version of Journey. And that probably drove people crazy. All right? Not that I personally drove people crazy, but they're thinking in their head, oh, he's thought of a creative way to get around this. So all those people who, and this is how people in life, they try to avoid taxes, they try to avoid fees, they don't want to pay parking. Of course, you don't want to have to pay off and pay up all this money when you don't have to. So this is a way to kind of circumvent that situation. And again, this is my theory. My guess is a letter went out and it said, please stop. I'm just simplifying. I'm sure it was a very formal letter that was written prior to any legal action occurring. And that's my theory to this. And for those of you who think I'm trying to make Steve Perry look bad, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying this is what I think happened. And if Steve was behind the letter or part of this cabal, if there was one, then yeah, it was him that initiated this. I'm sure it wasn't, some foreign bank somewhere in another country that's saying, no, you can't use the name Journey Through Time because Journey is trademarked and we're affiliated with Journey and please knock it off. We don't want to be affiliated with this. And no, it came from Herbie and or Steve. And I can't, here in their situation, based on their behavior, I can understand why they would do it. I don't agree with them doing it at this point. I think the fans deserve something like this where it's just unfiltered rock and roll. The rock and roll community is collapsing because there's no rock on the radio that's good anymore. So for fans who are nostalgic for something like this was something that people were very excited about. I remember at the time talking to people on Twitter when I was over there, and people were thanking me. They're saying, thank you for telling me about this. I cannot wait. I live in Missouri, and I'm flying out to California. And there were people all over the country that did that for the benefit concert. And then later on, the people who were fortunate enough to see Journey Through Time play a few gigs, those people were, again, their testimonies, they were blown away. Dean Castronovo, a beast on drums and vocals, and I kept telling people, this is going to be like the old Journey, and it really was. The problem is it said Journey Through Time. If they had called it Neal Schon's spaced out trek through the past, it might have worked, but it wouldn't have gotten as many people. You'd have to work a lot harder to promote that. And there may have been a few other little stipulations in there as well, like you can't have this guy in your group and this guy in your group because it's too much of a representation of what Journey used to be. I mean, this is the kind of legal stuff, and I've seen lawsuits and injunctions and cease and desist letters that are certainly right in par with what this was. So, again, that's my theory. Nobody has called me to tell me directly that's exactly what happened, but I've heard this is a likely explanation, or people didn't want to talk about this. Obviously, Neal didn't want to talk about it. So, there you have it. And again, not intentionally throwing Steve Perry under the bus, but you know what the old adage is, if the shoe fits, and in this case, I think it might fit both Steve and Herbie. All right, I am done with this video. I've explained it as much as I can. Thanks for subscribing. A lot of new subscribers coming on board, and I appreciate that. Also, if you want notifications, don't forget to hit the bell. And yes, for $1 a month, you can be part of the fun over on Patreon, where the Journey thread right now over there is like 100 pages long, and there's not much else I can add to that thread. But if you'd like to add something to it and be a part of the conversation over there, please feel free to join so you can communicate your thoughts over there. All right, I am done. I will be back soon. Thanks for watching.